A little bit of propagation. Yeesh. All right, all right, all right. 1 second, 1 second. All right. All right. There we go. Let's make sure that our audio is working. The propagation is complete. All right, that looks good. Make sure that the description is looking good. The description. Ah, okay. All right, let me fix that real quick. It's doing the glitch again. Give it a second. All right, let me fix this up. Bop, right here.
Says catching up.
Yep. I see it. I see it. And I'm dealing with it right now. There we go. All right, it's fixed. There we are. All right. All right. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Let's make sure we're live on the X. Are we live on the X? We should be. Yep, we are live on the X. All right, let's take a look and see if we are live on the Twitch. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Beautiful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Let's get all the announcements ready to go. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Get the announcements out over here, over here, over here, over here. All right. And over here. Beautiful. Wonderful. All right. Let's get this over here. Perfect. There we go. All right. Okay. There we go. Right there. Hold on. Let's get this over here. Boom. Right there. Bop. Right there. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. There we go. All right. Get this set up over here. Bop. Right there. Okay. There we go. This set up over here. Boom. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 100. Let's get to the first 100, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the first 100. All right, all right, all right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, fantastic Thursday. And yeah, I'm doing good. I'm chilling. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? How's everybody doing today? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. Okay. All right. All right. There we are. There we are. Got that set up over here. This set up over there. All right. Wonderful. Hold on 1 second. All right. There we go. Good morning, MAAA. Good morning, MAAA. How you doing? How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Let's take a look at some stocks. All right. We got ourselves all set up and ready to go. Let's get this intro started. What's up, guys? It's Double Nicks, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nicks in the house, aka the Rainmaker. And I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she likes to get shot out the cannon and she goes wee. Other times she likes to go to RBs and watch videos of puppies and kitties. Other times she'll go into the Stonk Market and find them ABCDs. Other times she'll go to Mickey D's. Other times she'll go to Wendy's. And other times she'll just go to Burger King, whichever one works at that moment. We call her DBL Moms. All right. Get a little more oomph in the hey. All right. Hey. Let's try again. DBL Moms. Hey. She glaring right at me. She about to hit me with a round in 5 seconds. That wasn't no damn lioness. That was a kitty. All right. Hit him with a round. Hey. All right. Like the cat ain't working. All right, there we go. Now that's what I'm talking about. All right, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Real Deal asks, "Hi, DBL. Can you check out AUST, please?" Yes, most certainly. Most certainly I can. But before we begin, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So that's pretty much what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. We called quite a few stonks today. This morning, we called VTIX. All right, ran up a nice 112%. 112%, ladies and gentlemen. Ran up a nice 112%. Boom, right there. All right. We also called SER, which ran up a nice 79% right there. Boom, SER. HCTI, which ran up a nice 62%. All right. And then finally, we called DCX which ran up a nice 72% right there. 72%. So that's what we got going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. We are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash. Now let's take a look at AUST for Real Deal, and then we'll take a look at Legal Industries XPON. We'll take a look at that as well, but let's take a look at AUST firstly, and we'll get that started right there. AUST. All right. AUST, as of now, currently has a bit of a pennant forming right over here. It formed right over here, and then curled off said pennant. Hold on, let me get this graffiti pencil activated. Bop, right there. All right. Has to curl. Had made a nice curl upward over here. And now it looks like it's kind of it's pulling back right now. Now it looks like it's pulling back a little bit and is forming a bit more of a pennant as of now. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. We'll see what happens there. But AUST needs to break above the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So AUST needs to break above the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Let's take a look over here at the support and resistance lines for the stonk, shall we? Let's take a look. All right, so we got support all the way down here. and resistance right over here. So right now, as of now, the stock is at the 295 support line, needs to break the 315 resistance line, and needs to break above the 348 resistance line as well. As of now, it's not overbought or oversold in the RSI. Let's take a look at the float. There is no real float for this stock as of now, but there, and also no volume as of now. It doesn't really show either or. So we'll see what happens with the stonk. We shall see what happens with it. AUST. We'll see what happens with the stonk. But let's see if it has any news. It does have news that 12 material stocks are moving in Thursday's pre-market session, but that's not really news per se. So let's see what we got going on here. AUST stock moved upwards by 10.11% to $2.83. That's all they really have going on here. That's what they got going on. So that's all they really have in terms of news. Last bit of news about it, other than that, was November 6th, and that was a while ago. So as of now, this stock doesn't have much in terms of news. We'll see what goes on with it. It looks like it's double topping at the $3.01 mark right over here. So it has to break that little resistance line there and then break through $3.15 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. All right. So as of now, that's what we got going on for it. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Let's take a look at some other stocks over here. So AUST needs to break the pennant and needs to break that double top as well. AUST needs to break the double top and the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Legal asked for XPON, XPON. Let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look. All right. So XPON, let's get some support and resistance lines for it right over here. Bop right there and bop right there. All right. So currently XPON is on a bit of a downtrend right now. On a bit of a downtrend right over here. Needs to break above the VWAP, which is over here at $1.20. But as of now, it needs to hold above the support line, which is $1. Needs to break $1.10, then $1.17, finally $1.20, which would be over here at the VWAP, then $1.24. 132, and then afterwards 146. So it's got a ways to go before it could be even remotely schmexy to meow. So let's see about the float. The float for the stock is 9.6 million, which is a reasonable float. It's not crazy. Volume is unknown as of this time, so we don't know what the volume is. Let's take a look and see if XPON has news. It does seem to have news that came out yesterday, so we'll see what happens here. XBeyond 360 reports select preliminary unaudited 2025 financial results and fiscal year 2025 preliminary revenue 9.6 million. All right, which is good. That's good news for it right there. It does have news that they filed a Form 8 that is trading higher after the company reported their preliminary fiscal year 2025 revenue results. And yeah, it asks why the shares jumped 42% after hours. And it says here that this jumped after hours after the lithium battery manufacturer announced preliminary unaudited financial results for the year ended December 31st, 2025. So that's it really. That they had some profits for the year. They had profits for the year. That's their news. Pretty good news. You know, hopefully that allows the stock to curl up a bit more. But as of now, it looks like it's pulling back. Looks like it's pulling down a little bit. Needs to break the downtrend. Needs to break the VWAP. And needs to break those resistance lines right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So XPON as of now, We'll see what happens with it. XPON needs volume to curl and break the downtrend and the VWAPA. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens there. Let's take a look at another stonk over here. All right, let's take a look at another stonk. XHLD. XHLD. Let's take a look at XHLD. All right. So, as of now, XHLD is currently on a bit of an uptrend right now. On a bit of an uptrend. Look at it right there. Boom. All right, needs to break this double top area right here, but it looks like it's trying to break it right now. Has to hold above $4.09 for it to be schmexy to mya. But as of now, XHLD is currently down 32%. It was up 63% earlier in the day, but seems like it's pretty sporadic in terms of movement. So, not feeling too good about the stock right now. It is moving upward, granted. Actually, let me refresh it real quick. Let me refresh this real quick because I don't think it's showing me the right stuff. There we go. It is up 71%. Excuse me, 71%. There we go. That's what I like to see. The XHLD is up 71%. It was showing me the wrong thing because it was glitching out a little bit. That's fine. It'd be like that. So XHLD, as of now, on the uptrend, 75%, and moving 76% now. And it looks like it's climbing its way on up. I'm liking it right now. I'm liking this stonk a little bit. Let's take a look over here. XHLD has a 3 million float, 4 million volume. So the float is reasonable. Maybe a little low, but that's fine. The volume is 4 million. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So yeah, as of now, this stock is up 76%. That was the high. We'll see how high it goes continuing on from now. Let's see if it's got any news to it. Any news for XHLD? XHLD had news that came out on the 27th, which was the day before yesterday. So we'll see what happens here. 10 shares halted. All right. Then they resumed their trade. And basically, there was an unconfirmed rumor of the stock being mentioned in the popular traders Discord group 2 days ago, but that's about it, really. So as far as this is concerned, it's moving on, little to no news, but as of now, it is up 84%, 84% on XHLD. I'm liking that movement right there. It's still moving its way on up, maybe forming a little bit of a top tail. We don't like the top tails. We like the bottom tails. But as of now, ladies and gentlemen, it's looking pretty good. 84% up, 84%. So we got that going on right there for XHLD. XHLD, we'll see what we got going on right there. Let's take a look at another stonk here. Let's take a look at another stonk. All right. Let's take a look at SCR. SCR. As of now, not looking schmexy. Needs to break this downtrend over here. Needs to break the downtrend and the VWAP. So we'll see what happens there. SCR needs to break the downtrend and the VWAP. So that's SER. HCTI. HCTI. Let's see how HCTI is looking. Consolidated below the VWAP as of now. Needs to break that VWAP. So HCTI consolidated below the VWAP. Needs to break it. Consolidated below the VWAP. Needs to break the VWAP right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. We'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see. We shall see. All right. So, yeah, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. There we go. So let's take a look and see what other stonks we got going on. Let's see what other stonks we got going on. Night Rogue, he says, good morning, DBLs. Good morning, man. Good morning. How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. All right. Let's see about another stonk. Let's see about some other stonks, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Let's see. Let's take a look at our requests real quick. Hold on. Let's see. All right. Hold on. Let's see here. All right. All right. So as of now, not a lot going on over there. Let's see. All right. So as of now, we're taking a look at some other stonks here. Let's take a look. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at NAMM. NAMM. I'm in the mood for NAMM. NAMM. All right. NAMM. All right. NAMM currently had a bit of a price spike going upward here. Was moving below the VWAP a little bit, moving up a little bit below the VWAP, and then just randomly had this massive price spike right over here, and then formed a bit of a descending, or more of a pennant, really, just a pennant right here and right here. Has to break that pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. But as of now, NAMM, yeah, needs to really just break that pennant. That's pretty much it for this stunk right here. NAMM needs to break the pennant. That's what it needs to do right there. So NAMM needs to break the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. XHLD, all right, as of now is on the uptrend slightly, moving its way on up. So it's climbing its way on up right now, breaking that double top. So we'll see what happens there. XHLD needs to break the double. Actually, already broke the double top. Broke the double top. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. All right. So, yeesh, that's what we got going on right there. All right, let's take a look and see here. XPON. Let's see what we got going on. Let's get a share party going. Let's get the 400, ladies and gentlemen. 400. All right, XPON currently still on that downtrend, testing one of the resistance lines, however. So we got that going on right there. XPON still on the downtrend, but is breaking the VWAPA. Yes, sir. All right. There we go. All right. So we'll see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. All right. So as of now, let's take a look at. Let's take a look back at XH. Actually, you know what? SER. We already took a look at XHLD. SER still on that downtrend. Needs to break the downtrend still. So we got that going on. SER still needs to break the downtrend as of now. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Let's take a look at HCTI again. HCTI still consolidated below the VWAP, still consolidated there. Not looking too schmexy as of now. Needs to break above this little channel right here that I'm about to make. All right, right over here and right over here. All right, so it needs to break above the channel for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. HCTI needs to break this channel. Needs to break the channel and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. VTIX. There we are. Let's see here. VTIX currently forming a bit of a whoa. VTIX just randomly shot up like a rocket, then pulled back. All right. I don't really trust it right now. But I will say it does need to break above this pennant right here. It needs to break this pennant and needs to break the VWAP, and temporarily did, but yikes, wow. Okay, so VTIX as of now needs to break the pennant, needs to break the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So VTIX needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA. There we go. That's what we got going on right there. VENU, Venu. All right, looks like there's not much in terms of volume going on here. I can tell just by looking at the indecisive wick over here. So I'd say that this is a low volume stock. All right, has a bit of a pennant forming right here. So low volume stock needs to break the pennant and needs to break the VWAP. So VENU needs volume to break the pennant and the VWAPA. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let's take a look back at SCR. SCR, let's see here. SCR still needs to break the downtrend right there. Still needs to break that downtrend. SCR still needs to break the downtrend. Can it curl? We shall see. VTIX. Thank you. All right. VTIX as of now needs to break above the pennant right here and needs to break above this VWAP still. So VTIX still has a ways to go there. Still needs to break that pennant. So VTIX as of now. VTIX still needs to break above the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. All right, so let's see what other stonks we got today. What other stonks we got? Somebody require. All right, let's take a look over here. Let's take a look over here. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see what we got going on. Night Rogue asks for ASST, please. All right, ASST. Let's take a look. ASST. All right, ASST as of now, pretty choppy, pretty barcodey. Not a lot of volume judging by these indecisive wicks over here. So we got that going on. We got the stock point down 0.39%. So not very schmexy as of now. Is very, very choppy and consolidated beneath the RSI. But beyond that, it's just kind of barcoded. So as of now, it's kind of barcoded. So ASST really needs volume. ASST needs volume to break the indecisive wicks and barcoding, as well as that VWAP, obviously. So we'll take a look at that. Let's take a look at BYND because BYND is another crowd favorite. ASST is a very big crowd favorite as well. So we'll take a look at that. But let's take a look over here. As of now, it doesn't look too schmexy there. It does not look schmexy as of now. Has a bit of a pennant over here. Needs to really break above this pennant, but needs to break above the barcoding, the pennant, and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So BYND needs to break the VWAP choppiness and pennant with volume. So that's what we need to do there. That's what it needs to do there. OPEN. Let's take a look at this stonk as well. Very choppy as well. It is moving along the VWAP. OPEN consolidated along the VWAP and is choppy as well. OPEN low volume consolidated below consolidated along the VWAPA. All right, it's consolidated along the VWAPA and it is low volume as of now, so we needs more volume. Needs more volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, all right, all right. So, yeah, that's what we got going on. All right, let's see what other stocks we got here. XHLD. Let's go back to XHLD. XHLD. All right, as of now, XHLD is currently climbing a little bit. Climbing off that double top a little bit. So it's still moving its way on up. XHLD slowly climbing up. All right. All right. So we got that going on right there. All right. SER still needs to really break that downtrend still. Let's see. SER needs to break the downtrend. There we go. Can it curl up? Because SER did have a nice run up 79% before, but we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. All right. Hold on one second. There we go. Let me turn this off. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 700. 700, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Let's get to 700. VTIX. Let's see here. VTIX, as of now, needs to break above this pennant. Needs to break the VWAPA as well. VTIX. All right. Let's see what we got going on over there. All right. Yoink. Bye. There we go. All right. So let's see here. VTIX needs to break the pennant. Needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. There we go. Needs to really do those two things. So needs to climb. Needs to climb. That's what it needs to do right there. VTIX. All right. Let's see here. VENU. Let's see how VENU is doing. It broke above the pennant over here. Broke above this pennant and is testing the VWAP as of now. So, hold on. Let me get rid of that. Bop right there. Let me fix this. Boom, right there. Broke the VWAP, by the way. Broke the VWAP, so that's good. That's good that VENU broke the VWAP. VENU broke the pennant and the VWAP right there, so that's looking good. VENU broke the pennant and the VWAPA right there. All right, let's see how it's doing with that volume. Still moving up on low volume right there. 29 million float, 329,000 volume. In terms of volume. But I like the fact that it's moving up, so we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do today. So, ladies and gentlemen, how you guys been? How's everybody doing today, man? I'm doing good. I'm chilling. Let's take a look at XPON again. XPON. Let's see how XPON's doing. Trying to break the downtrend right now. XPON trying to break the downtrend. Can it curl? XPON trying to... broke the downtrend. Broke the downtrend. Trying to curl. Right, needs to break that VWAP though. So we need that right there. That's what it needs right there. So yeah. Let's see what we got going on there. Let's take a look at METU. Let's see how METU is doing. METU. All right. METU did have a nice movement upward. Had a bit of a double top over here at the 38.66 mark. Pulled back a little bit and then started climbing its way back up again. Is a bit expensive. It is $38 per share. So we got that going on right there. But as of now, it does have a move upward over here. So METU on the uptrend as of now. Needs to break through that double top area right there. But METU on the uptrend and curling. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what goes on. And let's get a share party going. Let's get to 800. 800. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second. Let's take a look and see what other stocks we got going on here. Let's take a look and see what other stocks we got going on. Hold on. All right, 1 second. All right. All right. All right. Let's see here. Hold on one second.
Somebody's asking about MBAI.
MBAI. All right. All right. Let's see. MBAI. Let's take a look at MBAI. All right. MBAI. Let's see here. Alrighty, alrighty. So MBAI, as of now, currently up 15%, has unconfirmed Q4 earnings due on February 12th before the market open. So that's what it's got going on right there. Did have a couple of indecisive wicks over here. There's one doji candle right here. A little bit of consolidation here before it pulled back immensely, climbed back up slightly, but then felt another indecisive wick over here and then shot up once again. So as of now, this doesn't look like it has much volume as of now, but currently is not moving up. Well, it needs to break this pennant right here. So it's currently above the VWAP. That's good, but at the end of the day, it's currently very much so diverting away from the VWAP. It is on a bit more of an ascending wedge over here, so we'll see what happens here. But it is on a actually, you know what? It's more It's more of a pennant. More of a pennant, really. So it's more of a pennant. Has a float of 5.4 million, volume of 332.8 thousand. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on in terms of volume for the stock. Needs a lot of volume for it to be so much mexy to me. The float is reasonable, but the volume needs to be brought up more. Otherwise, it's going to be meh, You know how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Does it have any news? It had news that came out on the 26th, which was a couple days ago, that check cap shares are trading higher after the company announced it regained NASDAQ compliance. But again, this was days ago. So as of now, that was like 3 days ago. So, that's all right, I guess, but not really the news we're looking for because it's not something that's really, bullish for now. It's not recent. It's not fresh. I need the news fresh. Fresh. You know what I mean? Fresh. So we got that going on right there. MBAI needs to break this pennant right here. Needs to break this pennant and stay above the VWAP for it to be so much maxi to me. MBAI needs to break above the pennant and stay above VWAPA, and it doesn't look like it's doing that right now. Not looking too schmexy for MBAI. MBAI. Let's take a look and see what other stunks we got today. What other stunks do we have? Let's see. There we go. Let's take a look and see what requests we got here. All right. Somebody asked for. Somebody asked for Meta. All right, that's a very expensive stock, but sure, I'll check it out. Sure, let's take a look. META. All right, this is Meta. So it's a very expensive stock, number one. Not my kind of stock, personally. Me personally, not my kind of stock. But it does have news that Meta Platform shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and issued Q1 sales guidance above estimates, with multiple firms raising their prospective price targets on the stock. So that's what they got going on right there. Currently, they are up 9%. Again, this is probably a very, very high float stock, and it is a very high price stock. So we got that going on as well. Very large cap. 2 billion float. Not my kind of deal. Volume is 1.9 million. So as of now, very low float, very heavy volume. So yeah, we got that going on, and it is also pretty expensive. So META. Let's take a look. META on a slight uptrend on very light volume, very expensive, because it is meta. So, we got that going on right there. All right, let's see what other stonks we got going on. What other stonks we got going on there? Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see over here. One second. One second. Let's see. All right. Somebody requested ARBB. All right, ARBB. ARBB. All right, ARBB up 0.13%. 0.13%. Very choppy as of now. Not a lot of volume looking at it. Has some unconfirmed fiscal year earnings due in 12 days from now on Tuesday, February 10th, before the market open. So they got that going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. So, yeah. One second. One second. All right, let's see here. Let's see. All right. So, as of now, ARBB, not a lot of volume, needs volume, needs a lot of volume for the stunk. ARBB needs volume for it to be so much Mexi Tumya. Baki asks for GCTK. GCTK. All right, let's take a look at GCTK. All right, GCTK. All right, so as of now, GCTK did have a bit of a shot upward over here, right? Hit a bit of a double top right over here. All right, looks like it's round tripping as of now. Had a bit of a double top at the $5.52 line over here. Boom, right there. All right, and then pulled its way on back into a round trip. So looks like as of now with the stock, very, very, very choppy. Very choppy. But more so than that, it has a bit of a pennant right here. So we got that going on right here. Let me see here. Where is it? There's my baby. Aha. So has a bit of a pennant that formed right here. A little bit of a slight descending wedge. Could it potentially curl up? Maybe, but does need some volume. So GCTK, as of now, needs volume to curl its way on up. So let's see over here. Has to curl up to the $3.85 mark over here because it is currently residing at the $3.23 support line. Has to break to $3.85, then $4.33, then $4.66, $5, $5.42, and then $6.10. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. So, as of now with GCTK, it needs to be able to curl off that descending wedge. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 907.3 thousand. So that is a pretty low float, but nothing crazy right there. Volume is 11.6 million and change, which is excellent for this kind of stonk right here. The volume's there. The float is relatively low. So we got that going on right there. All right. And to top it off, let's take a look at the news for the stunk. The news for the stunk came out today that GlucoTrack announced USPTO approval for issuance of patents for proprietary CBGM platform. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office had issued patents for GlucoTrack's continuous blood glucose monitoring platform right there. So they do have some good news there. They got some good news. The float is a little bit low. Volume is nice though. So it needs to break above this descending wedge and it needs to break above this VWAP. That's GCTK. GCTK. So we got that going on. Needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to Mia. Mikhail, good morning, buddy, asks for up UP. Let's take a look at up. Let's take a look up. Let's look it up, shall we? All right. So there's the Wheels Up experience in Class A common stock. Currently down 1%. This one is very, very choppy as of now. A lot of indecisive wicks, which tells me it is very low on volume. Let's take a look and see. Volume is currently 50.8K, while the float is 113 million. So as of now, the float is extremely heavy. Volume is 50K, which is extremely light in terms of volume. So as of now, it doesn't have much in terms of the volume right now. Let's take a look at the news for it. Let's take a look at news, see if it's got any news right there. And they did come out with some news on the 27th, which was 2 days ago, that Wheels Up introduced a seamless concierge level customer engagement model under a single brand. So they got that going on right there. But right now, currently, the stock is very, very choppy with indecisive wicks. Needs volume to really break above the VWAP. So as of now, up needs volume. It needs a lot of volume right now. Up, let's see. Up needs to break the VWAP with some volume right there. All right, so we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Baki asks, could you indicate where you think the GCTK price will be at the opening? As far as GCTK goes, I don't really you don't really have many ways to predict that. You basically just utilize key levels of support, key levels of resistance, and the Fibonacci. That's pretty much all I can really do there. You don't really predict those things. You can't predict exactly the price and stuff like that. So, yeah, here's the Fibonacci right here. Currently, it has a support line of 323, has to break above 385, 433, 466, 463 as well, which is where the VWAP is, has to break above that. Then 466, $5, 542, and then 610. Those are all potential levels for it right there, but it needs to break through them, which is basically what's going on with the Fibonacci right there. So that's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. Mikhail says, thank you. Thoughts on OSS? Number one, our pleasure. Number two, yeah, sure. Let's take a look at OSS. Let's take a look at OSS. All right, so OSS as of now, very, very choppy as well. A lot of indecisive wicks over here, right? So you got indecisive wicks here, 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 here. A lot of indecisive wicks, very, very choppy as of now. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. OSS needs volume, needs a lot of volume. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 22.4 million and change, which is very, very heavy. Volume is 26.6 thousand. So as of now, the float is heavy, volume is light. So OSS needs a lot of volume for it to be so much schmexy to me. Let's see if it has any news for it. OSS did come out with some news on the 27th, which was 2 days ago, that they announced a new multi-year platform award with top-tier aerospace prime contractor. Again, that's good news. It's just that that news came out 2 days ago, and I'm pretty sure it probably already pulled up off of it. So, as of now, this stock needs a lot of volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. But right now, it's got a lot of indecisive wicks over here, a lot of indecisive wicks here and here. So it needs to break those indecisive wicks with some good old volume. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. OSS needs volume to break above the VWAPA and trend up. So that's what it really needs to do right there. If it wants to make an uptrend, it's going to need a lot of volume. So that's what we got going on. And it's very heavy, so there you go. Consistency asks for ERIE. ERIE, let's take a look at ERIE. ERIE, all right. So as of now, ERIE did have a bit of an uptrend before losing some volume here and showing some indecisive wicks. So that's what it's got going on right here. Let's take a look over here. Bop right there. Currently on the uptrend here, and then basically formed a bit of a series of just indecisive wicks right over here where the circle is, and then kind of just pulled back a little bit. And is currently still above the VWAP. It is also very, very expensive. So ERIE, very pricey stock. Let's take a look at the float for this stock. 25 million and change. Heavy. Volume is 444. So as of now, very choppy stock. Not a lot of volume. So needs volume. Very choppy and expensive. So ERIE, choppy and expensive, needs volume for it to be so much mexi to me. That's what we got going on right there. Choppy and expensive, needs volume. All right. Consistency asks for PINS. Let's take a look. PINS currently also choppy, showing indecisive wicks over here. Right. Well, actually, just more so over here. Right over here. A lot of ones over here. Oh, excuse me. Let me get this. Over here, right there. One over here. Oop, there we go. All right, one over here. And it's just choppy and kind of consolidated all around. So as of now, this stock is kind of consolidated. Needs volume for it to really go. All right, let's take a look at the float. Oh, and also it does have some more over here. So a lot of indecisive wicks going on there. A lot of indecisive wicks. Has some Q4 earnings confirmed for 14 days from now on Thursday, February 12th, after the market close. So PINS does have something like that going on. This is Pinterest Inc. Class A common stock. This is where a lot of people like to put art and stuff on, if I remember correctly. I don't really look at Pinterest much, so I don't know much about it. But that's what we got going on. 536 million float, very heavy. Volume is 106,000. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let's take a look over here. Does Pins have any good news? Their stock slides as layoffs spark fresh growth fears. So as of now, not really much going on in terms of PINS's stock. Nothing really good or positive going on there. So PINS needs volume, needs a lot of volume. PINS needs a lot of volume to become so much mexy. To me, is a bit expensive, but needs volume. Needs a lot of volume for it to be so much mexy to me. All right, let's see here. Let's take a look at ODD. ODD was another one that was requested. ODD. All right. This stock was requested as well. Let's take a look over here. BOP right there. Currently a bit pricey in terms of stocks, but nothing crazy. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Again, this stock has indecisive wicks galore. Has one over here and one all the way over here. And then one all the way down here. So as of now, this stock is currently very, very choppy. ODD, very choppy. Had a pullback. Needs volume. So ODD also needs volume. Float is 32.9 million. Volume is only 39. So we got that going on right there. ODD has news that came out on the 20th that Barclays remains a hold on Oddity Tech Limited Class A. So ODD needs some serious volume for it to be so much mexy to me. ODD needs volume right there as well. Needs volume. So Let's take a look at TTD. Let's take a look. TTD. All right. TTD as of now, let's take a look. Down 0.38%. Very choppy, low float, heavy float at 437.8 million. Volume is 128.3 thousand. So we got that going on right there. TTD on a downtrend, needs to break the VWAP. So TTD on a downtrend and needs to break the VWAP right there. Boom, right there. All right, let's take a look at DCX. DCX Doximity Inc. Class A common stock. Currently, this stock has indecisive wicks here, indecisive wicks here, right over here. Hold on, bop right there. Another one all the way back down here. And indecisive wicks over here. So as of now, very choppy, up 0.08%, has confirmed Q3 earnings due in 7 days on Thursday, February 5th, after the market close. So we got that going on right there. The float for the stock is 133.4 million. Volume is 1.9 thousand. So we got that going on right there. Let's take a look at the notes and news. Let's see here. News, it shows that Doximity upgraded to overweight from equal weight at Wells Fargo. They upgraded Doximity to overweight, lowers price target to 55, and to top it off, their insights came from 5 different financial analyses. So right now it's doing okay. You know, I mean, this came out on January 20th, so it's like 9 days. So it's been 9 days. Not a lot of fresh news. Needs volume. DOCS needs volume. All right, and needs obviously some fresh news. So DOCS needs volume right there. Pop right there. Let's get that going. All right, now Mikhail says last request TE. Okay, bet TE. TE. As of now, T1 Energy Inc. Got that going on right there. All right, TE also has very low float. Very low float. Had some indecisive wicks here, indecisive wicks here, more over here, more over here. All right. Here, 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 and here. So a lot of indecisive wicks, really. Not a lot going on in terms of volume. Let's take a look over here, though, for TE. TE does have a bit of a float, so I will give it that. That has a bit of a pennant over here, so I'll give it that. Needs to break the VWAP and needs volume. So TE really needs some volume, and to break the VWAP, we'll take a look at the, right? Needs volume and to break the VWAP. All right, let's take a look and see what the float is. 161.9 million, heavy float right there. I call it 162 million actually for the float. Volume 290.1 thousand. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Down 2%, 2%. So as of now, TE really needs volume. It needs a lot of volume too because that float is extremely heavy float. Light on the volume. Does it have news? Well, they have news that Pomerantz law firm is investigating them, so that's not good news. So as of now, TE doesn't have good news, and to top it off is very light on volume and needs to break the pennant. So that's what it needs to do right there. That's what TE needs to do. Jasmine asks for XHLD. Let's take a look at XHLD. XHLD. Let's take a look right here. XHLD. All right. So currently XHLD shot up like a rocket over here and then kind of just started pulling back a little bit. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. So as of now, XHLD needs to break this pennant right here and also needs to break this double top right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to Mya. All right, so XHLD needs to break the double top and needs to break the pennant and stay above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to Mya. That's what we got going on. XHLD, don't worry, we'll go in depth some more. This stock is currently up 68.6%. XHLD up 66%. Needs to break the double top and the pennant right there for it to remain somewhat schmexy to Mya. There we go. All right. Alex Martinez says, I need resistance line right here. and the $4.84 resistance line right over here. We are just about 10 minutes away from the bell. The bell. It deafens me. All right. So, as of now, XHLD needs to break this pennant, needs to break the double top, and that's pretty much what we need to do right there. So, XHLD needs to break the double top and the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. There we go. Let's take a look at some other stonks right here. Let's take a look at some other stonks. Let's take a look at somebody requested ARBB. Let's take a look at ARBB. ARBB needs to, yep, very choppy. Choppiness right over here. Choppiness, showing choppiness on these little indecisive wicks over here, over here, over here, over here, and over here. Forming doji candles too as well. So we got that going on right there. That's what we got going on right there. So, all right, let's see what we got going on. So, as of now, ARBB has fiscal year earnings that are unconfirmed due in 12 days from now on February 10th before the market open. So, yeah, ARBB as of now needs to break this choppiness and needs to break its way on up. So, as of now, it needs to break above the VWAP and needs to break this choppy lack of volume. So, ARBB needs to break the lack of volume. Can it curl? We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. All right, let's take a look and see what other stonks we got. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. SER. Let's take a look at SER. See how SER is doing. SER trying to curl up a little bit. We'll see what happens there with this one. But SER does look like it's trying to curl just a little bit, but does have a little bit of resistance right over here at $3.87 mark. So we'll see what goes on there. We shall see what goes on. All right. So as of now, SER curling off the downtrend needs to break the double top. All right. SER, that's what we got going on right there. HCTI, as of now, is curling its way on up, trying to test that VWAP a little bit. It's moving there. Has news that healthcare triangle shares are trading higher after the company announced that it had entered into a developmental program agreement with Better. So we got that going on right there. HCTI trying to curl, and test that VWAP. So HCTI trying to curl and test the VWAPA. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let me get a drink, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get a drink real quick. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. 1 second. All right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party. Let's get to 1600. But also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different. And the early bird gets the cash. the moolah, the loots, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, when you get the real-time alerts and scanners, you gain access to our amazing chat room with our indelible pride, our group of people, our group of peeps in the community who basically love to help each other grow, love to help themselves grow, love to basically build together, make money, and just grow together. Because you know what? It's always good to make money, but it's even better to make money with other people as a community. Always fun to do that stuff. Always good. They like to bounce ideas and stuff off of each other as well. Wonderful community, very educational, very amazing, very well made. So yeah, awesome community there. You also gain access to our market mover scanners over here, which show you the ticker, the price, the volume, the float, the time at which it was scanned, whether the stock is moving up or down, and the percentage changed of the ticker, as well as hyperlinks that give you access to all the information you need about the ticker, including the information that's already on this sheet, but also the price, the volume, the float, all that good stuff, the news, the chart, etc. All that cool stuff in those little hyperlinks over there. So be sure to check that out as well. You gain access to the newsroom, which basically shows you a bunch of different articles that you can read pertaining to the stock market and the stocks themselves, and it gives you basically a little synopsis of each and every individual article, and then gives you a hyperlink to click on so you can read the full article in whole. And to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, not only that, you also get access to the tickers that are affected by the news within said article, and you can click on those hyperlinks to basically gain access to the ticker, price, volume, float, chart, whether it's moving up or down, news, etc., on the stock that you are looking into and are positive about. It is a very wonderful research tool. Very wonderful research tool. So be sure to check it out there, ladies and gentlemen. Also, ladies and gents, be sure to check out our Wealth Builders package, which gives you access to all of this and more. All right. All you have to do is check out that Wealth Builders package because it gives you access to everything in the real-time alerts, plus exclusive picks for Wealth Builders only, an exclusive Wealth Builders chat, exclusive course with over 500 plus videos of material created by myself and Coach Nick Money. All right, and to top it off, exclusive access to, well, behind the scenes footage and also scripts and a direct line to Coach Nick Money and myself. So yeah, be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah. As of now, currently, we are just chilling right there. We are chilling right now, taking a look at HCTI. We're going to take a look and see if any other stock has made some progress here. Let's take a look at KRRO. We are less than a minute away from the bell. The bell! It deafens me. And it looks like KRRO has a bit of indecisiveness as well. Indecisiveness over here. A little bit over here. A couple of lines over here are also indecisive. So it's got some indecisiveness on it. So it doesn't look like it has much in terms of volume. Up 27% and change. Coro Bio shares are trading higher after Piper Sandler upgraded the stock from neutral to overweight and raised its price target from $11 to $30. Also, HC Rainrate & Co. upgraded the stock from neutral to buy and announced a $20 price target. So they got that going on right there. It looks like it's trying to curl its way on up. But again, I think this might have some low volume because it does have indecisive wicks. Let's take a look. The float is 7.1, actually called 7.2 million right there. Volume is 52.5 thousand. So as of now, very low volume. The float is reasonable, but the volume is extremely low. So we got that going on right there. And it's time for the bell! The bell! Yeesh! It deafens me. Ah! All right, there we go. So KRRO, moving on low volume right there, needs volume. KRRO needs volume to move. Otherwise, meh. Not looking too schmexy, too mya. All right. Let's see what else we got. What else we got over here? All right. All right. So as of now, let's take a look at another stock here. Let's take a look at VTIX. 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 Let's get a share party going, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 1800. 1800, ladies and gentlemen. 1800, 1800, 1800. All right, right now it looks like VTIX is trying to curl off that consolidation below the VWAP as well. So we'll see what happens there. VTIX trying to curl off the consolidation. VTIX trying to curl off the consolidation for the stocks. Let's see what we got going on over there. XHLD, all right, needs to break above the pennant and the VWAPA over here. XHLD still needs to break that pennant and VWAP, so we got that going on. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens with it. XHLD needs to break the VWAPA and the pennant currently consolidated. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? Let me add them. All right. So, as of now, let's take a look and see what other stocks we got. FLWS pulled in. All right. 1-800-Flowers.com Inc. All right. So, this stock is up 17%, has news that 1-800-Flowers.com shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results. Their conference call has concluded and their Q2 earnings were released today before the market opened. So we got that going on right now. That is what we got going on. Currently very choppy in terms of price action and movement. A lot of indecisive wicks going on. Oop, hold on. A lot of indecisive wicks going on over here. Right, and then some more over here at this part of the area, and then some more over here. So a lot of indecisive wicks as of now. Currently moving above the VWAP, so we got that going on right there. That's pretty good. We'll take a look at the float. Float is 20.5 million. Volume is 4.49. Yeah, that's it. That's literally at 4. That's the actually, excuse me. The volume is 540,000. And Doings, thank you for following, brother. Thank you for following. All right, but yeah, the volume is 550,000 and change. So as of now, it's very low float. Very low volume, very heavy float. So we got that going on right there. Needs volume. Needs a lot of volume for FLWS. Again, did have news that they're trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results, so congratulations to them. But it needs volume. It needs more volume for it to be so much Mexi Tumia and maybe keep moving up. So, yeah, FLWS, as of now, FLWS needs volume. Okay? So, yeah, let's take a look there. FLWS needs to break needs to break doesn't really need to break much of anything. Needs volume to remain friends with the trend. There we go. All right. There we are. SILC. Let's take a look. Also very choppy here as well. Has news though. It does have some news, so give me just a second. Again, choppiness here, choppiness here, choppiness here, and then more choppiness right over here. So yeah, not looking too schmexy there, not looking too schmexy. So we'll see what goes on, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what goes on. But as of now, a lot of indecisive wicks there. Silicom shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results. They had a conference call, which is currently in progress. The Q4 earnings were released today before the market opened. And yeah, everything's looking good. All right, so SILC. All right, that's what we got going on right there. SILC, let's take a look at the float, which is currently 5.4 million. Volume is 28.8 thousand. So again, volume is lower than the float. Not looking too schmexy in that regard. We'll see what happens. It is up 23%. Has news that they're trading higher after better than expected Q4 financial results. So, yeah. So, as of now, SILC just needs more volume. It needs more volume to break those indecisive wicks. All right, needs more volume. SILC needs more volume for it to remain somewhat schmexy to ya. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section. So be sure to check that out. We pick up a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yeesh. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we got quite a few stocks that we called earlier today. All right. There we go. So, yeah. VTIX. We called VTIX early in the morning, up 112%. SER up 79%. HCTI up 62%. DCX 72%. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we're going on. So, yeah. Also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel at Coaching Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
At Coach Nick Money. You can find us on x.com, aka Twitter, at Coaching Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
At Coaching Money.
YouTube.
You can find us, well, I said YouTube, but I'll say YouTube again. You can find us on YouTube at Coaching Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streaming, lots of stock reviews, lots of stock analysis there. Be sure to give us a like, a comment, and a subscription there. Be sure to give us a like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell icon on YouTube to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share. Remember to share, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we got going on right there. And ladies and gents, be sure to check us out on our x.com, aka Twitter. Be sure to hit us with a follow there, because we do lots of live streaming, stock reviews, and stock analysis there as well. At Coaching Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
At Coaching Money. You can find us on Twitch, where we do lots of live streaming, at Coaching Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
Be sure to give us a follow on there. All right, and be sure to check us out on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Coaching Money.
At Coach Nick Money.
At Coaching Money. All right, and of course, you can check us out on TikTok, Tiki Taki, aka the Tac Tac. The Tac Tac. You can find us there at DBL Nicks. At DBL Nicks, and the screen name is Coach Nick Money. So we got that going on right there. All right. So, yish. As of now, that's what we got going on. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check us out at all those areas. And be sure to check us out at 1:30 p.m. for Power Plays with the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he hosts the show and basically goes and navigates through the pre-Power Hour stock market and basically takes a look at all the stonks, gives his honest reviews, analysis, and thought processes when it comes to the stonks. Right, and to top it off, he gets some dubs for the community by letting them stock simmer on high heat. All right, letting them stock simmer on a nice high heat, and then he just takes a look at them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So as of now, that's what he does right there. That is what he does, and then yeah, he just does it all over again. Gets some dubs for the community in Fortnite. Goes back to the stonks, checks through them, lets them simmer on high heat some more. Gets another dub. That's what he does. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty much it right there. And I'm doing the co-hosting there as well. That is at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Power Hour, or Power Plays, excuse me, Power Plays. So yeah, that's what we got going on there. Be sure to check that out as well. Much love, everybody. Take care of yourselves. I will see you at 1:30 p.m. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys. I love you. And I'm out of here. I'm with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she likes to get shot at the cannon and she goes, wee! Other times she likes to go to RBs and watch videos of puppies and kitties. Other times, she likes to go into the Stonk Market. And yeah, she will find some wonderful stocks on with some ABCDs. She did call some wonderful stocks like VTIX, SCR, HCTI, DCX, and also, of course, FEED. We call her Divya Moms! Hey! All right, that's pretty much it. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a great day. We'll see you later on today for Power Plays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Much love, everybody. Take care of yourselves.